If you've tried to cut back on sugar, but those cravings came back tenfold and you ended up eating more than you wanted to, it's because you're doing it backwards. In this video, you're going to get the winning combo to help you eliminate your sugar cravings. I'm Holly Bertone, and after 40 plus years of emotional eating, sugar binging, and losing weight and then gaining it right back, to finally losing 20 pounds, keeping it off, and getting my sweet tooth under control. And after helping hundreds of women stop binge eating and stop the sugar cravings using the strategies that I learned as the chief of staff for FBI counterintelligence, I can tell you this: the candy, the chocolate, the ice cream, the cookies, they're not the problem. Willpower, discipline, they're not even the problem. Everyone thinks in order to reduce those sugar cravings, you just give up sugar. But hasn't that always worked against you? Eliminating your sugar cravings, it is actually a sequence problem, and it has to be done in a specific order so your brain can make that switch from I need to cut back, or I need to be good, or I really shouldn't eat that, to this is normal life and I just don't even have to think about it anymore. Here's why. When most women decide they want to cut back on sugar, what's the first thing they do? They cut back on sugar. But how many times has that actually worked? It's because you're trying to solve an emotional automatic behavior with a rule-based solution. It's why you can eat healthy all day, but then at night after dinner, it's like someone just flips the switch and the obsessive eating just starts and it doesn't stop. That's why willpower works until it doesn't. It's because the outdated models of diets and willpower, mindful eating, they're not designed to produce a sustainable result. The sequence is just backwards. And until the order changes, the outcome never will. During my time in FBI counterintelligence, my job was to spot the pattern of spies before they turned into a threat. And what I noticed was that sugar cravings and emotional eating, it works the exact same way. The eating is not the problem. It's what's happening before you even realize you're reaching for the food. And that's how the emotional eating forensics was born. It's how I helped a fellow health coach significantly reduce her snacking in just 10 days. It's how I helped a marketing manager completely stop snacking after dinner in just 21 days. These women started exactly where you are. They crush it at work, but then came home and they lived these double lives because they couldn't turn off the emotional eating. And now for these women, the obsessive cravings, they don't even exist. This 5-step blueprint, it's called NIMBY, N-I-M-B-E. And here is the specific order so you can flip that switch in your brain so that shutting down these sugar cravings, it can finally be sustainable. And I want you to think about this from the perspective of like a triangle or a pyramid. So we're going to start at the base. We're going to start with the foundation with what has to happen first and what is most important, and then we're going to move up from there. So first off is N. N is for nervous system regulation. This is how you react. And we're starting here because you can't build habits or food choices on top of a nervous system that feels unsafe. Let me explain it to you this way. Back when I was at the FBI, my boss took our entire unit on this team building activity to a haunted house because that was a great idea at the time. So before we went inside, he gathered all of us around and he gave us a briefing. And he said, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk in, and then over here is going to be some light or noise or sound or something, and you're going to want to look over to the thing. But then while your attention is diverted over here, the creepy clown is going to just pop out and jump out and scare you. You see, we are distracted by the busyness of life and work and family and responsibilities and social media and the news. That distraction, that creates the chaos. And the chaos creates increased cortisol and all of the stress. That stress, that increased cortisol, that's the creepy clown that jumps out and scares us. That's what dysregulates our nervous system without us even realizing it. So instead of operating from our system 2 brain, our prefrontal cortex, which is slow and logical, we are now operating from a system 1 brain, which is fast and automatic and emotional. This is why it's so easy to get triggered, because we're making fast decisions and we're making emotional decisions. So it's easy for us to get triggered. And when we get triggered, what do? We reach for the cookies and the cupcake and the chocolate. And this is why willpower does absolutely nothing. This is your brain in survival mode. And as long as your brain is in survival mode, and as long as you are operating from a dysregulated nervous system, it is going to be next to impossible to resist the cravings. They're going to be emotional, and they're going to be automatic, and they're going to be fast. It's going to be impossible to resist them. It's going to be impossible for you to make healthier choices. But when you learn to regulate your nervous system, your brain gets out of that panic mode and you shift back to your prefrontal cortex, your system 2 brain, to be able to make more aligned decisions. And P.S., when I say regulate your nervous system, I'm talking about an inside-out approach. This has nothing to do with self-care. Step 2 is identity. This is who you are. Follow the logic here. When was the last time you woke up and you had to convince yourself that you're not going to do heroin today? Probably never. And if someone was to offer you heroin, what would you do? You'd be like, no, thank you. You wouldn't even give it a second thought. You wouldn't have the guilt and the 5-minute overshare of why you don't do heroin. You're just going to be like, no, dude, I'm out. And it's not even because your identity is that of someone who doesn't smoke heroin. Like, it doesn't even exist. It's not even a part of who you are. You don't walk around all day thinking all day about not doing heroin. And I know this sounds crazy, but this is the kind of non-negotiable identity I am talking about. This is resolve. If you want sustainability, it has to be a part of your lifestyle. And if you want that lifestyle, you first need to have the identity of the person who is doing the thing that you want to do. So the first step in this identity is to surround yourself with others who have the same identity, who take care of their health, who eat healthier, who don't eat a lot of sugar or limit sugar or don't go to all the fast food restaurants. This is when you find a coach who has the kind of lifestyle that you want. If you want what they have, do what they do. At the end of the day, your identity is who you are when you're not even thinking. And you are eating healthier because it would feel weird to eat the sugar-filled comfort food. And on the rare occasion that you do, it doesn't bother you, and it may not even taste good anymore. Number 3 is your mindset and your predictable patterns. This is what you think. So we've regulated our nervous system, step 1. We've shifted our identity, step 2. And this step answers the question, why do I keep ending up in the same place even when I know better? This step right here, this is your make or break. And here's why. It's because your brain operates like a box. You are inside that box. The only thing you see is inside of that box. The label is on the outside of the box. When you are in the box, it is impossible to read the label on the outside of the box. Your brain would rather keep you inside the box. Your brain wants to keep you in a predictable environment. That keeps you safe. Even if inside the box, even if that's not the best situation. Because when you go out of the box and you try to find a new box, that new box is not safe. That new box is not proven. That new box is not predictable. So your brain wants to keep you exactly where you are. I mean, think about it. Have you ever said, I'm a sugaraholic. I've always had a sweet tooth. I can't say no to chocolate. Your brain is predicting failure. Your brain is convincing you that you are going to fail because that is the box that you're currently in. It is going to be impossible to see success until you change your box. Before I go on any further, if you're getting any value out of this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Holly, how do I get to a different box with different predictable patterns? Number 4 is the behavior and habits. This is what you do. If all you needed was more discipline and a different behavior, you would have solved this years ago. Your behavior and your habits, they can be automatic, but only after your nervous system resets, you've got your identity squared away, and you have those predictable patterns. And that's because this is the evidence of those 3. Okay, let me explain. You already know what to do. If an alien came down to Earth and said, tell me, dear human, how do you stop eating all of that sugar? You could probably give the alien a master class in everything that you've learned, because I know you've learned a lot. You've tried the routines and the habits, but when they don't work, you just assume that you didn't try hard enough or you need more discipline. My friend, if I know anything about the women in my community, they are disciplined AF. They get it done. So, no, it is not about more discipline and it's not about more effort. How we make this sustainable, it is with realignment. Okay, listen close. The behaviors that cause you to not get it done are when things like procrastination and perfectionism come out to play. This mentality of, I screwed up today, or I have to work late today, and I can't get it perfect, so I'll just start tomorrow. So this is when we take your natural self-sabotage and your self-protection tendencies, and we are going to reverse them so they're now working in your favor. And when this becomes routine, it is so much easier for those behaviors to happen automatically. Number 5, this is your last step in the triangle. This is eat. This is what you consume. And at the top of the triangle is this tiny little mini triangle. This is where the majority of the weight loss space lives. And this little triangle at the top, that is the wild, wild west. Every single professional in the weight loss space, they have their own system. And for the majority, it's based on the outdated models that's still taught in the schools and the certifications. And I'm saying this as someone who has 4 certifications under her belt in nutrition and health and metabolic health. I'm saying this as someone who went vegan because that's what they told me to do, to eat the superfoods because that's what I was told to do, to someone who's tried every single piece of advice out there. I lived in a calorie deficit because that's how you're supposed to lose weight. And nothing worked. I could not kick my sugar addiction to the curb. And I continue to be fat and I continue to be inflamed. That model did not work for me. And it hasn't worked for the women in my community. Many coaches will tell you that you can eat whatever you want as long as you're in a calorie deficit. They say, go ahead, eat the ice cream, eat the Oreos because you deserve it. Because that's what you want to hear. You want permission to eat the junk food. But what they don't tell you is that what you eat has consequences. The consequences to your hormones, your energy, your mood, your anxiety, and yes, your weight. So what happens is that this advice, it causes women to be undernourished. So they eat these sad little salads that leave them starving. They still believe the old school advice about limiting meat, especially red meat, even though the advice has been debunked for decades. The system is designed to keep you fat and undernourished, and that keeps you in this perpetual state of sugar cravings. When you introduce more animal protein and fat into your diet, you will start to feel more satiated. And I'm not talking like I'm stuffed, I feel fat and bloated, and I want to take a nap. No. When you adjust to focus on nutrient-dense food, you will feel what I call like a happy full. Your energy is consistent all day long, and that is going to help to minimize those sugar cravings. And bonus, when you eat like this, you are doing what is best for your metabolic health, and you are not going to end up as a frail old lady. So hopefully you're starting to understand that chocolate and cookies and ice cream can't fix a dysregulated nervous system. Habits can't override identity. Discipline can't outwork your brain's natural tendencies. And what you eat has consequences. And that's why the sequence matters. If you continue to focus at the tiny little triangle at the top of the triangle, the diet, you're going to continue to get the same results. If you want to walk by your favorite trigger food and no longer have that obsessive pull to eat everything in sight, if you want to eat 1 or 2 bites of your favorite treat and put the fork down because you're satisfied, if that's something you're looking for, click the link below this video and that's going to take you to another page where you can join the 5-day Quit Sugar Challenge. Inside the 5-day Quit Sugar Challenge, you're going to steal the exact 5-step FBI-inspired method that's helped hundreds of women eliminate their cravings, quit sugar without any kind of deprivation or willpower. You're going to get the dark psychology behind how some women can eat just 1 cookie and then effortlessly put the rest away while you're still over here devouring the entire sleeve. And finally, you're going to outsmart your sweet tooth addicted brain by taking the right action in the right sequence. You'll also get bonuses that include a guide to how your body and brain responds in those first 30 days when you quit sugar, so you know exactly what to expect when those cravings happen. Plus 15 things to do when that craving hits to interrupt the urge. And a list of 49 names for sugar so you know what to look for on the labels. and your ultimate food guide so you know exactly what foods to eat to help to reduce those sugar cravings and stabilize your blood sugar. There is a small admission fee to join the challenge. All you need to do is click on the link below, and you can also DM me on Instagram at holly.bertone, Bertone, with the word sugar, and I'll hook you up. And I'll see you there.